Yeah, I had the oh, what's his name? He's a director for down in like Hilton Head and Beaufort area. He reached out to me this week about they may have some people that might want to come up for the camp.
Are we charging them to come to the camp?
Yeah, yeah. I told him for his people it'd be $20 a piece.
It's coming out of your pay, Tracy.
That's right.
Of course it is.
She makes so much at her day job. She don't need no more money.
Hey, Tracy, I'll give you my money Sunday.
Okay, that's fine.
I think I still need to pay you too, don't
Yes, you do.
I? Ah,
Now that I'm at home for a week, maybe I could get some things done.
yeah.
Hey, what time is next Sunday?
The scoring training starts at 2:30, business meeting 3:15, and then we'll just have a little kind of a social whatever afterwards.
Sure.
Just have some soft drinks and some snacks and things. Just because we did which a good problem we have is we have so many new people coming in every season, so it's a good way for them to meet the rest of us. Oh God, I know.
Now,
I
why you gotta come
know.
at me like that? I just snuck in here so calmly and quietly. Todd. Yeah, I do. I miss all you guys. I'm getting way too comfortable with my confidence level. Y'all need to knock me down a few
Yeah.
pegs.
Well, Heather and I found out we may run into each other in the hospital. Our surgeries are on the same day.
Yep.
Probably not going to be very far, time wise apart. So.
Nope. Nope. Not at all.
Well, that's what I would love to get. That's what I thought.
Look, I already told him that they could send all my bills and stuff to him so we could get a 2-for-1. So.
My maximum out of pocket is paid for the year. So
Nice.
my
Mine is
medical
not.
stuff don't cost me anything until November 1.
Sweet.
So if I get sick, I'm covered.
Oh, good. I hope you don't get sick, though.
Just another couple of minutes and they'll roll in. Guess we're doing tonight. It's going to be real quick, going to be real easy. We all going to get out of here. I got to get back in and help with the wife. My wife, Friday night, we had gone to a little auction we go to sometimes, and we stopped in this neighborhood. She wanted to walk through this little townhouse that was open. Well, I was in the car getting stuff done on my phone and looked up, and she was face down in the driveway. So she sprained her ankle, sprained her wrist, broke her elbow. They thought she had a broken nose. And by the time we got her up, it was probably about a 2.5 foot round circle of blood in that driveway.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, so
Tina.
her face is all black and blue, and she's in a sling. So I've been trying to take care of her this weekend.
You got to quit hitting her so hard,
I
Keith.
know.
Yeah.
Keith, you need a better story than that.
I told her that's what she gets for looking at houses. I know. And that's what I felt so bad about. I'm sitting there on my phone looking at this cruise. And she said, I've been laying there about 3 minutes. And I just never looked over, never saw her.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we men don't notice things unless it's right in front of our face.
The first step is recognizing you have a problem.
Heather, you know me. That's a long list. Comes Obi. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and get started, and I'll be letting people in as we go. Once again, thanks everyone for coming. This is the last Zoom I have planned. We've done enough of these. So the next real form of training, of course, is going to be we will have scoring training at the meeting next Sunday. For those that don't know how to keep book, that is very important because as you'll learn as you get deeper into this sport, if you have an issue on the court during a match, 9 times out of 10, it's the scorebook. So you all need to learn how to keep that. We're going to work with you there. Also, while we're at scrimmages, you will be expected to keep score for at least one set, just so we can make sure you're growing in that aspect. Okay, number one, registration. Let's talk a little bit about Arbiter. First off, y'all, if I believe everyone here pretty much is registered, I'm sending out emails constantly. If you're not registered with the high school league, pass the test and paid your dues to the CVBOA, you do not get any matches booked until that is taken care of. So we need to, y'all need to get that done, please. I mean, we're running it. I think we're right about 40, maybe just a touch under 40 right now. We ran it last year with 62, I believe it was. So hopefully we're going to get back up to that number by then, just to make life easier on everybody involved, especially Ryan. So please get registered. Those of y'all that maybe have not used Arbiter before, once you're registered in Arbiter and you have your Arbiter Pay account set up, everyone must have an Arbiter Pay account set up. That's the way most of the schools pay you now. So get that done. But then you're going to need to go in and set your blocks. Your blocks in Arbiter, you can set what days you do and don't want to work. Make sure that you put your mileage you're willing to travel in there. That's very important. Also, your time that you can basically be at a match to work. We want you there no less than 30 minutes before the beginning of the scheduled time for the match. I try to tell everybody 45 just to be safe, but you can put all of that in the Arbiter. And in that way, if you've got something blocked out, it will not let the assigner override you. And if we need you and you're blocked, we may call you or text you and say, hey, we got an issue. Any way you can work it out tonight? If that's the case, then we'll put it in and we'll go with it. But please get those blocks set immediately, because Ryan will be starting to work on that schedule here very soon. We got the scrimmage season coming up. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, and that's what he's going to start with the booking. If anyone has not received your rules and case books yet, please send me an email with your address so I can get those in the mail to you. Okay, let's see. What do you need to do if you have a child that plays for a team? Let me know that. And what you can do also, you can go into your blocks. And in your blocks, you have the option to block up to, I think you can block up to 3 schools. And if you go in and put a block that you cannot work for that team, it should not allow us to book you for any match that they have, either home or away. So, but if you have a child that plays for one of the schools in our zone that we are our district that we assign, let me know, but put that in your blocks in Arbiter also. And then if something pops up, we'll handle that. Yeah, if you don't have your books yet, please let me know. I've been mailing them out this year. That just seems to work easier instead of meeting off the side of the road somewhere. I have had 2 or 3 people that I've mailed them to, and they just never got them. Thank you, U.S. Postal Service. But if you haven't got them, please let me know as soon as possible, because you really need those to take the test. The test is open. It is open until, I believe it is, I have to look in, maybe like around July 31st. If you take it after that, they can open it up for you, but there may be a fee for that with the high school league. So get that test taken. For those that haven't taken it before, you can take it 5 times. You can stop it a total of 10 times while taking it if you need to take it 5 times. It's going to show on there the passing test is 70. Yes, that is true with the Federation and the South Carolina High School League. We require 85 or higher. It is open book. You've got the case book. You've got the rule book. Should be able to get there. For those that are new to reffing or new to this sport, use both books to confirm before you answer a question. A lot of times the questions are worded, and I'm not going to really say like they're trying to trick you, but it's not very obvious wording of how it should be. And then some are verbatim what's in the book. So just if you have a question you're not sure about it and you want to wait, just skip it. Go to the next question, come back to it. But just confirm those answers you're not sure of in both books before you put the answer in on the test. Once you submit it, it'll send you your score. If you make that 85 or higher, great, you're good to go. Only drawback is we require 90 or above to assign you as an R1 or R2 for a playoff match. We look for 95 or higher to recommend for a state championship. That is not always the truth. It depends on how the person grows during the year and what we see, but we really would like to see that 95 there. So please try to get to that. Let's see. Let me get George in here and Veriva. All right, cool. We're getting up to about 30 now. We're good. Okay, I've talked a little bit about this already, but I really want to kind of try to drive this home a little bit. There are so many problems nationwide these days with, the treatment of officials, referees, players. Different sports handle issues like this in different ways. Volleyball, we're a little more passive. We try to be a little more passive as officials. Our job is to never be seen. Our job is just to facilitate the match. If you have problems with players or coaches, pretty easy to handle that. If you do have, talk to your floor captain, give them a verbal warning, like, hey, let's
We hear someone's TV.
Can everybody, let me go up here. Let's see. And everybody mute themselves, please. Let me see who we got on. Okay, I got that one. That's not it.
So what's the problem then? He's just smart and kind and possibly stunning.
The George?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to turn TV down.
How about turn your TV down or mute us, buddy? Okay.
Okay, hold on a minute.
All right, cool. If it's always best, and it will behoove you to try to give a verbal warning before you start pulling out cards. If you can't handle it, then you're going to have to sanction them with a card, but do it in a respectful way. Follow the protocols in the book. Don't just throw that card up in an aggressive manner. There are ways to deliver it. We will go over this in person at scrimmages and at the camp, because if you do have an issue with a player coach and, the way a sanction is given, if it's deemed a little bit aggressive, then you're probably going to have some issues throughout the whole match. So we're going to really try to work with you guys on that in person. Fans, that's a total different ball game. just wear earplugs if you can. A lot of people say they don't like to wear them, but you really, it would save your hearing, number one, but it mutes out a lot of that comes from behind you. If you have fans getting out of line, do not turn around and blow the whistle. Do not shush them. Do not. You're just going to call the floor captain over of the home team. Tell the young lady to go tell the coach to have the gym supervisor, please go handle the fans and continue the match. Don't shut it down. Continue. We only shut the match down if things get really, really bad. Most of the time, if AD goes and talks to these parents or kids, most of the time it squelches it right there. So just be careful how you handle that. Any questions or suggestions or ideas on that from anybody? Okay, now Ryan and I started doing this a year or two ago. Just odd situations. Sometimes you have situational things come up. A lot of officials are not sure how to handle them. Some handle them correctly, some handle them wrong. It's just so I maybe might bring up a thing or two. Afterwards, y'all please join in. I've asked Ryan to see if he can come up with some. Anybody that's ever had a situation you just weren't 100% sure of, bring it up and let's talk about it as a group. We had this happen in the scrimmage this past Friday. We had two courts playing in the same gym. We had a ball roll on the court. The play was blown dead immediately. Okay. If you are playing in a tournament type situation, or sometimes you'll have a couple of courts going in the same gym if they have a tri match or a quad match, and you've got a couple of officials, the ball comes on your court, don't necessarily blow the play dead. If the ball is not interfering with the play, the ball that's coming on the court is not interfering, let play continue. Because if it's not going to affect it, we don't want to stop it and have to redo an entire rally. Like I said, that happened once Saturday, but we had two courts playing. It was a scrimmage. It was kind of loose. So just keep that in mind. Also, jewelry. Since they've been allowed to start wearing jewelry, remember nothing below the chin, only studs from up. I noticed I kind of let the officials do their own thing Friday. I did notice one young girl on the team that had on some mid-size hoop earrings. So I kind of stepped in at one point and told her, said, hey, we need to get those off of there. And we kind of got the look. And this is one part where volleyball gets confusing to these players. There are some refs that allow hoops. There are some that they only allow them snug fitting, which is in the rule sets where they do allow the hoops, they do have to be snug fitting. High school does not allow any type of hoops at all. So they have to come out. They can't tape them. They cannot cover them. You just have to explain to them that is part of this rule set. Another one that y'all are going to see here at the beginning of the season is going to be service. A lot of these girls just finished playing club or travel ball. They are allowed 8 seconds to serve. National Federation of High Schools, they are allowed 5 seconds. Saw a little bit of this at the scrimmage Friday. So, and I reminded my refs just, if they're caught up in it the first time, I would not, if they get over that 5 seconds, unless they're back there 10 or 12 seconds, just wait until they serve, wait till the rally's over, then call the floor captain up and say, hey, let all your players know that there's only 5 seconds allowed for serving, and this is your warning. I'll need to call it from here on. We do need to remind them of that at the beginning of every season, because the first couple of weeks, you're going to have some players taking longer than 5 seconds. So if you just kind of, nip it in the bud in a nice way at the beginning of the match, you're going to be good there. Ryan, you got some stuff possibly to talk about?
I have injuries.
Mhm.
You're gonna have injuries throughout the season. Just try not to rush anybody through. You talk with a coach. Obviously, if it's a major injury, the whole place is going to be quiet. Give the girls plenty of space and time, but then talk with a coach and figure out who you want to replace. Who's going to replace the girls? Might just be an easy, simple sub. And then we have exceptional. What's going on? That's my lovely ringer. Exceptional sub stuff. But with injuries, it's kind of like just kind of give it time. They're supposed to be off in a certain amount of time, but it's just kind of a based on base situation. So injuries, and then another thing is blood. It's that when I talk about injuries, I talk about like breaking stuff. If they have blood on their uniforms, they have to change their uniforms. They cannot play with blood on their uniforms. A couple years back, I had a state final, and the girl got blood on her uniform, and they were kind of scrambling to find their extra uniforms. And so I walked across the court and I talked to my R1 and told him that I was literally just going to stand and pretend I was talking to him because it was a state final and I didn't want the girl not to play. So I said, I'm just going to stand over here and kind of talk to you until the girl finally finds her uniform, because I didn't want to mess it up for the girls, especially being in a state final. So girls cannot play with blood in their uniforms. They do have to change them. Sorry, my dog's freaking out. What else do I have? We have a question. Do you blow the whistle to stop play? Yes, you can blow the whistle. So again, it's kind of like all right, I need to assess the situation for an injury. If a girl is obviously in pain, blow the whistle and replay whatever. Sometimes you can get a point off of it. You might say, oh, hey, they got the point because the ball went down. But if you need to just do a replay, blow the whistle and stop play. You don't want anything to continue if a girl is hurt. And then
Brian, I believe we went over this a couple weeks ago too, but they're not allowed to change on the court.
right. They have to go out of the gym to change, but they cannot play with blood on their jerseys. So that's sometimes they freak out. Coaches freak out, but you're like, hey, look, it's part of the rule book. It's part of the rules. It's something weird, but it happens. It happens, and injuries do happen, unfortunately. Another thing, just weird situations. You can delay. This happens in club a lot, but you can delay the match, or you can get your matches going if you are persistent with your whistles. Sometimes we have people taking forever because they're not persistent with getting the coaches out on the court. So if you blow your whistle or give them their 15-second warning or whatever warning before, and they're taking their jolly time. If you give a coach a warning for delay a game right away, they're not going to be sitting on the side constantly taking their time. And then again, if they do it again, you give them that red card. Say, coach, you've already been warned. But those are just some things that help speed up the game, because coaches are going to take their time. They're going to look around. Oh, he's giving me that time, or she's giving me that time. I'm going to keep taking it. And they'll string it along as much as possible. Same thing with delay of games during the – so we don't usually have Cardinal Newman very often, but there's a particular coach who likes to take her girls and delay games on purpose. She will have them untie their shoes. We've seen it many, many times. During a match one time, I had a girl come up and tell me, hey, did you know the other team just scored a point? Just out of the blue. I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah, I did. And it just, again, it kind of delayed the other team from keeping their serve up. And so just these are things you should recognize during the game. I know we are talking about girls leaving the court to change for obvious reasons, but yeah, everybody. Yep. Boys and girls, no one can change on the court. So those are really, Keith, is that?
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me go back to the chat.
Injuries, blood, delays, cursing. I know, just don't put, coaches are going to push, not cursing, but coaches are going to push things to see how far they can get with any ref. If they think they can get away with it, and I'm not putting any coaches down, but they're going to try to get away with whatever if they can get away with things, they will. So be persistent on what you're doing during the game. Be proactive, watching your benches, making sure you see. Try not to have tunnel vision. It's when I'm talking with my newer people or anybody, and just keeping a big scope of what's going on during the game. That will keep you more in tune with coaches. Again, crowd control. Sometimes Keith and I had a weird situation with crowds cursing at our line judges. I didn't know what was going on. Keith didn't know what was going on until, well, I knew during the game, but I didn't know as bad as it really was until after the game. So I don't know if anybody else has any weird situations.
Mm-hmm. See if our more seasoned Richard, you got anything that's ever happened that sticks out in your mind as just odd that maybe it might help some of the officials?
No, not really. I mean, just time management. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do, and don't let anybody walk over you. You got tools in your pocket. The red and yellow card. Use your tools if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I know some coaches use a delay. They'll have the captain come ask you a question, and then you'll give them a reply. The captain goes over to tell them. Then they want to come back. We're not having this discussion. I'm giving you what the ruling is. Let's play.
Correct. That is a good one.
That's another way for them to delay the tactic, by just keep coming back to you to get more information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one that a lot of coaches will do. And it's like, no, you left that captain, unless it's just something really, really crazy. Or if you have a question in your mind that you have not applied a rule correctly, you might need to spend a little extra time to think about it. I can honestly tell you, I've never had a protest in high school ball. We'll see it sometimes in travel or club ball because you're so close knit. Everyone's just right there together. And, they're not allowed to argue judgment calls. They're just not. And judgment is, it's not just hands. It's, if there was a center violation, yes, I had the foot completely over. Was the ball in or out? Yes, we had it out. Yes, we had it in. Yes, we had the touch. All of those are judgment calls. They are not allowed to argue those. Now, you don't want to be so over officious that if a coach kind of gives you one of these at the beginning of the match about a call, the look the first time kind of helps. Just give the coach a look like, hey, and then give them that verbal warning. Say, hey, we're just not going to question judgment calls, because when you get into higher level balls, if you happen to have a protest, it's just like with USAV this year, they just went in if a coach protest something in a match, and it was a judgment call they were protesting. It actually cost a penalty point, was given to the other team. So, and to be quite honestly with you, coaching is getting better in the high school. We still have a lot of coaches at some of these high schools that they're just coaching to get a stipend, and they don't really keep up and know the rules very well. So one of our jobs is to remind them, because we should be teaching them and the players as we're in the gym, not just officiating the matches. You know, if they come up with you with an honest question, answer it. If they're yelling, screaming, send them on their way. But like Richard said, you do not let it impede on the flow of the match in any way. Because you get a server that's scored 2 or 3 in a row, and like they said, so like as I said, you'll have some people that will just start asking multiple questions. They'll have them untie shoes. They will, and that's the kind of stuff we need to keep a lookout for. Like Ryan said, the coach from Cartner Lumen, anytime I have her, they get the warning at the coaches meeting, captain and coaches meeting. You're going to untie that. You're going to tie that shoe once, and that's going to be it. If you tie it once and tie it right, it's not going to come loose the second time during that match. So, I guess
she's a good coach too. She's a great coach.
She's one of the best coaches around, but she's
she'll hold the ball too in her hand.
Thing.
She'll hold the ball in her hand too.
Yes.
That's the biggest one.
We'll test the waters.
Well, the River Bluff coach will do that also. He's a very good friend of mine. If the ball rolls over to the bench and he's not happy with his players, he's going to tap it a couple times really hard as he's talking to them, and then he'll put it down and slowly roll it back over. Okay. If something like that happens, don't throw up that yellow card. Call the floor captain over and say, "Hey, if you're the only R1, if you're the R2, step over and say, Coach, let's keep things moving here." This is where I'm hoping that a lot of you will be using headsets this year. If you work with me, you're going to have headsets on. That's where the communication between the two officials makes life so much easier. Because if the R1 sees something, R2 sees something, we can let each other know. That really speeds up the play in these matches.
Hey, Keith, I had a situation.
Okay.
It was with the boys team. It was Blythewood and is it Catawba?
Catawba, yeah.
So I was starting the clock, to prepare the captain's meeting.
Uh-huh.
And the coach for Catawba, she got upset because I had started a little bit earlier. The match, I think for the boys, they start at 6. It was 6 o'clock or 7, somewhere up in that time frame. But either or, it was like maybe 5 minutes before the actual on the hour. Mm-hmm. And she didn't like that, and she said, "I'm going to report you to the high school league." All right, is that something feasible? I mean, starting a match 5 minutes earlier, what?
Mm-hmm. Well, technically,
even though I get it clear from the coaches, I asked the coaches beforehand.
Right. Yeah, it's a good idea. If things look like it could possibly go early, if everybody's there and the players are ready, they seem to be ready to get going. Yeah, you need to get permission from both coaches that, hey, we might be starting about 5 minutes early. Are you okay with that? If they say no, well, the book time was 7 o'clock. You got to make sure that start time's at 7. Quite honestly, if they throw around a threat, they're going to report you to the high school league. They ain't going to report you to the high school league. And the high school league, they got a lot bigger fish to fry than 5 minutes at a volleyball match. But just, and a lot of times that'll happen with your varsity matches after, like, you've had a JV and the JV went really quick. If I'm there for a JV and let's say the JV's at 5:30, varsity's booked at 7. Okay, we're done at 6:10, 6:15 with the JV match. It was just a blowout. The first thing I'm going to do is once we get the the book settled, and we get everything taken care of for the end of the match, then I'm going to go and I'm just going to pull both coaches up to the net, not the captain's meeting, pull them in and say, hey, okay, here's what we're doing. What time do y'all want to start this match? And let the coaches make that decision. And then you abide by that. And if they say a lot of times, all right, let's have a maybe first serve at 10 till. So just do your backtrack on, give yourself about, give yourself a minute and a half, 2 minutes for once the last warm-up team comes off, go six. Give yourself a couple minutes for the captain's meeting, and figure out what time you want to call captain. So you're starting as close to 10 minutes till, if that's what they agreed upon. But it's always safer to let the coaches help decide that instead of just starting a little early. That way it takes any onus off of you as the official. And we'll see that a lot in travel ball. It's you're talking 12 matches on a court during the day, and we had one at the last tournament down in Myrtle Beach. Everybody was ready to play. They wanted to be started by quarter till, and they could have been. Everybody was there. One coach said no. So they sat around, and basically the girls were peppering the ball. Just some of them were sitting on the bench, drinking their morning coffees and eating donuts for 15 minutes before warm-ups began. So do try to leave that up to the coaches if you see there is a possibility of an early start. What else, anybody?
Hey, Keith.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times, because parents are coming to the varsity game, they don't want to start early. They're paying $5 or whatever at the door, and they're coming to watch their daughter play. So the parents give the grief to the coaches. So in a lot of cases, they will not start early.
Exactly. And that happens a lot. A lot of coaches say, no, we start at start time so that the parents, can get there once they get off of work. That is true, Carolyn. And if they say we're going to start at 7, well, you're going to start at 7. It's just the way it is. All right. Anything else? Anybody wants to mention?
Hey, Keith. This is
Yeah.
Inez. I'm going to say, as a coach, when I with my JV and varsity, I tell my parents, hey, JV game may end early. We may start early. I would
Yes.
suggest that you be there for the JV game. If not, you need to be there, I'll say by 6:15, because we never know what's going to happen. That way,
Right.
I won't have parents, oh, y'all started early. I'll let them know ahead of time. Hey, we don't know how these matches are going to go. So you need to be there early just in case we have to start early.
Right. And there will be some coaches that are going to say, no, my parents will be so mad. And if that's the case, and that's between the coach and the player. Now, if the coach says, well, they're not going to be happy, but we're going to start, then you do what the coach tells you to. The coaches. Make sure the coaches are in agreement. One thing I don't know if we went over when we were talking about line judges. It's changed a little bit for Federation. For those that haven't worked before, typically, per the rule book, the home team is responsible for furnishing both line judges. What we prefer to ask the home coach pre-match is, are you furnishing both line judges, or do you want to get one from each school? Most of the time, they're going to say, well, we got one if they got one, or if they need us, we'll do 2 or whatever. But if they say, no, we're furnishing both, then, per rule book, they can furnish both. Last year, Federation changed the rule on line judges. In the past, they've stayed on the same corners the entire match. Now they're switching corners each set. So if they have multiple line judges, throughout the match, they are, you need to talk to all of them, but they're still, make sure they're switching, because if high school league representative gets there, then they may call me if they see that not happening. Now, if there is, let's say a home team is furnishing both line judges for the entire match, well, there's no such thing really as switching because you got a representative of their team on both sides. Big rivalry matches, you may see that where the home team wants to furnish both. But I'm going to venture out and say 99% of the time, at least, both coaches are going to just find someone to help and furnish each side, so you don't have someone complaining about anything being unfair. Okay, let's go into scrimmages. We've basically finished up the Zoom training, but now the important part of your training comes. It is during this, is at the camp, it's at our scrimmages. CVBOA requires every official to work 3 scrimmages, an hour and a half per scrimmage. I know that's a lot of time you're giving up. You know, it's basically 4.5 hours plus travel you're giving up. But it's what we all need every season. Even those of us that have been doing it forever, we still need that time to get back in the flow. For our newer officials, it's learning. So we do require that, and we do keep track of that. I will have lead officials assigned at every scrimmage. They do report back to me after the scrimmage and let me know if everyone showed up like they were supposed to be and if they worked their full amount of time. And, you know, if we're coming down to the last couple scrimmages and you've only made one, I'm probably going to call you and say, hey, you've got to be there if you're going to work. And it's just part of it. We all need to be focused enough on this sport to get your training in and do what you need to do to facilitate the match for these kids and these coaches. That is our job. The scrimmages, we go in full uniform. We will want you to, even though we very rarely line judge, we want you to line judge. We want you to R1, R2. We want you to keep scorebook. So you're gradually just growing yourself in every aspect of officiating the sport. So at the meeting this coming Sunday, I will have some score sheets printed up to hand out. So what you might want to do is either take a picture of it, email it to yourself, print you up some, and when you go to these scrimmages, make sure you've got at least one with you and sit down and score at least a set, just to kind of get the feel for it, because it's going to teach you how to find mistakes on that scorebook, and that's going to save you a lot of trouble during the season. It is what it is. Let's see. What was that? Somebody just put something. Oh, is those the scrimmages you put up, Ryan?
Yeah, you got to look through. I copied and pasted and didn't get to separate it.
Okay,
if you look through though,
yeah.
If you look through, it just has like 8-7 Batesburg is 4:00, and then you kind of got to look through. I'm sorry, I sent it before I got to. Yeah. I pushed send. 8-8 is Irmo. If you look at the dates, it'll give you the date on there. That'll be each one of them, and then look from there. Like 8-12 Batesburg Leesville, 5 p.m. 8-12 Pelion, 8-12 Richland, Richland Northeast. Yeah, you can, if you just look through those, at least.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Ryan, let me either Ryan and I will send all those out to y'all in an email. And if you want to then respond to Ryan and I and let us know
we'll put it in
which ones might be good for you or which ones you definitely cannot make, because we do have to fill all these spots. So if you want here, and here, but we need you over here, we may have to put you there just so that we can get everybody their number of scrimmages they need, but also to make sure that some of our newer officials are getting the help they need in every scrimmage.
I'm going to also, when I send it, I have it on Google Sheets. I'm going to make it so that people can add their names. I'll have spots on there where we'll need a certain amount of people at each scrimmage that you can fill your name in.
Yeah, that way, that's hopefully, a good idea. Put your name in and send it back. Yeah.
Yeah. That way everyone doesn't have to email me or text me. It'll just be on that, and you can just fill in fill in where you can go.
Okay. So like I said, the training, it gets kind of hectic in these gyms because a lot of time these scrimmage, they'll have anywhere from 1 to 4 courts running. So it can get a little bit kind of loud and obnoxious in there, but that's where you're gonna get a lot of good training. The 1-day camp, Sunday, August 3rd, 9 to 3 o'clock. This is very important. Because we're going to get a lot of personal. It's going to be a smaller. We have room for anywhere from 1 to 4 courts. I don't think we're going to have so many people that we're going to need 4 courts. I'm hoping to run it with 2, possibly a third. We'll be splitting you up. My plans are to have maybe a little bit of like start at 9 o'clock, and then maybe have a little class time basically where Ryan and Richard, myself will get up and be talking to you a little bit, going over a few more things, and then we should have players there ready to go. Starting, we'll have them on the court by no later than 10. We'll break for lunch sometime afternoon, and then we'll stay till about 3. I know it's a Sunday, it's one of your weekend days, but it's just one of those things that you really need to attend. I think the way we do it here, we're blessed. I know of some other directors in the state that try to make it mandatory for y'all to come to 5 and 6 training sessions, hours and hours and hours. But our program still seems to keep plenty of officials working championships and playoffs and things. So that's why we do it the way we do. And I would rather just have more of a highly concentrated 1-day camp instead of expecting y'all to be somewhere in a camp situation 4 or 5 different days. So please come to that. We'll be there probably starting registration by 8, getting people checked in and getting ourselves organized. Okay. This coming Sunday, we're going to be at the South Carolina High School League office, which is out off of Fernandina in the St. Andrews area. We're going to do scoring training starting at 2:30. We're going to finish up with that by 3:15 at the latest. Then we will have our business meeting, which is going to be really short and sweet. We don't have a whole lot of stuff to go over. There's no bylaw changes this year. We do have the election. There have been no nominations come in. So by default, Linda has volunteered to run for the board if needed. I'll run for director if needed. So unless I get any other nominations this week, or probably by about Thursday, then we're going to have to shut that down. And then, but per our bylaws, we still need to have a vote. So it is what it is. So we'll get through that. And then we're going to have just a little short social afterwards. We'll have some soft drinks there, maybe some snack foods, just a chance for us to get to reintroduce ourselves to each other, but also for those of us that have been in this group for a while, for us to get to know the new officials that are coming in. We need to make them feel very comfortable so that when they show up in the gym with us, they know the face.
That is 121 West Park, right? Boulevard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And there'll be plenty of parking there for us. So just come on in. I'll get there early to crank the air conditioning down because they always cut it off on the weekend. So I'll try to have it good and cool by the time we get in there. But and those of us that are in this group that have been doing this for a while, our job is to build our cadre of officials. We don't just want some of us to step away and then this thing dies. So it's very important for y'all to come to these things, welcome the newer officials, help the newer officials. I know the first year I got in this, nervous could be, and I don't think I worked with anybody on a match first half of the season and almost didn't come back to it. We want to make all the new officials feel very welcome at these scrimmages. We want to make sure that you're working with, don't just get on one court and stay with the same 4 people the whole night. Just go from court to court, take positions, get to know each other. We don't have to become best friends, but we need to, just become a tighter knit cadre of officials. And the sooner that all of us can go up and see someone new in our group and call them by name and make them feel welcome, the better. And I'll say right now, I'm terrible with names. I'll get all of y'all down by part of the way through the season. But it's just one of those things. But we want you to know that you're welcome in our group, and we need you, and we're all going to work with you to help you with this thing.
To add to that, ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know something, or you don't know, or you're completely lost, please ask questions. I know last year I had a few people get nervous because they're new, and they were like, I didn't know what to like. I want to make everybody, like Keith just said, we all want to improve. We're always improving, no matter what level we're at. You can learn something from anybody, and please ask questions. Like, just why did you do that? What was the reason for that? Why do we do it this way? Or why? I still, I ask questions all the time. If I don't know something, I'll ask. I don't care. Just, hey, what'd you do that for? What was that? That gets the,
no questions too simple, or no questions too dumb.
Nope.
It's just not. We were all there at one time. I know when I first came, I first started doing high school ball with this group. And I walked in the first meeting, and they had me stand up and introduce myself. And the director said, what's your experience with the sport? I said, oh, I'm a parent of a player, and I've been a parent of a player now for several years, so I know I'm going to be just fine. Okay, and then it took about 10 minutes to realize I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So just because you've watched it, or just because you've played it sometimes, doesn't mean you know. And that's what we're here for, is to help get you, because officiating is different than parenting. It's different than coaching. It's, it's just a different way of looking at this thing. And we want to get you guys there. That we want to. It's we've got some people in the group that have been calling for 20, 25 years. We've got some people in this group that have been calling for 2 or 3 years that are just as good as those that have been doing it 20 or 25 years. So it's the growth is possible. And it's just all up to the official. And like I said, anything, please ask. Don't ask because you don't want to be a bother. It is never a bother. Never, never, ever. So anyway, when Ryan gets that Google Doc out, go ahead and start throwing your name in on some spots. If you want to put yourself down for your 3. If you're possibly available to work some more, maybe jot it off to the side or something. And some others. And if we're running short on those, and we'll call you and say, hey, come on. And then when it comes to the scrimmage season, if you're working and let's say you're not booked to work a scrimmage on a Tuesday night because you had to work. Well, you get off work at 4:00, just show up at a gym, jump in. You don't have to, R1, R2, do everything on those nights when you just show up. Maybe come line judge, just sit down and keep scorebook, just show the effort, give it the time that it needs to get you where you need to be.
Keith, can I interject here for a second?
You go right ahead, Todd.
We had our Zoom meeting last Sunday, and this was a topic that was conversed quite a bit, because we have a lot of our officials that do travel as well. But there was a confusion with net faults and centerline faults between travel and high school. And
Right.
I told them what the rule was, and I had a bunch of them arguing with me, and I said, well, I'm right because Keith told me I was right.
Yeah, and you're right, Todd. A lot of these girls just finished club ball this past week, and they're going straight into high school. A lot of the coaches, they'll coach club and high school, and there is a difference on several. There's a difference on the center line violation, the net violation, a few other small things, nothing major. And it's just you have to remind them. And if the Todd, for those of y'all that don't know Todd's from down in Myrtle Beach. And there's some officials down there, a couple of guys that have seen what we've been doing up here, and they're wanting to try to maybe try this in their group down there to improve their cadre of officials. And so Todd and I have been talking a lot about this. And if you don't have the structure like we have, you have a lot of those officials say, well, I've never done it this way before. Well, then you've been doing it wrong for 20 years. It is what it is. And you have to change with the times. The sport changes. You got to change with the times. It's like a pastor told me one time sitting in church. He said, there's 7 words that'll kill a church. We've never done it that way before. And that fits to every part of life. Life changes, things changes, rule sets change, play changes. We have to adapt. And just because we used to award a point this way instead of this way, we don't do this anymore, So it's just accepting the fact that you can learn from anybody and everybody. And none of us, I don't know if I probably mentioned this early in the training, before I've got my junior national certification a couple of years, I told our group, I said, the best learning point that I got in the 2.5 years I was really working towards getting this certification came from a 12-year-old junior. No national level official caught this one little situation I had with my hands in a signal. The 12-year-old junior player caught it and asked me why I was doing that. And I held my hands up and I stood in front of her and I says, well, I'll be darned, young lady. I said, nobody else in the world's picked up on this. And I tell that to the groups that I speak to. You can learn from anybody and everybody. And that's why we want all of y'all to ask the questions, even if you're a seasoned official, just like Deanna was asking earlier about starting early. Everything is situational. You just have to learn how to deal with it and do not 5 minutes. Us getting out of there 5 minutes early is not going to make a big difference to us, but it could make a lot of people not happy in the facility. So our job is to call that match from 7 until it's done. If we can't start at 6:50, we have to start at 7. That's okay, because you weren't supposed to start till 7 anyway. But if they let you start, hey, go. Good for you. So just be open and willing to listen to anybody and everybody. And if you do disagree, pull out the rule book. It's the best way to do it, is go through that rule book and look up situations. The case book will give you great situations on things. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate y'all coming in tonight. Please come Sunday, 2:30 at the South Carolina High School League office out in St. Andrews area. It's off of Fernandina Drive. It's kind of back in a business park type setting. Love to have everybody there. Be very relaxed, So just y'all come on in and we'll get through that, and we'll talk a lot more about the camp from then. I've got a lot of planning to do this week towards that. And I appreciate y'all sitting in on these boring Zoom meetings for the last few weeks. And I promise it's getting ready to get a lot more fun, a lot more exciting once we get in the gym and start getting yelled at a little bit. So, is there anything else anyone wants to say or ask?
Ryan, I put my email in the comments. If you would include me on that, I may come up and do a couple of your scrimmages.
Okay.
Go.
Great.
Go. All righty. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. Listen, y'all get out of here, go watch some crappy TV somewhere, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see y'all next Sunday, 2:30 at the high school league office. Thanks, guys. Y'all take care.
Later, guys.
Thank you, Keith. See you
Thanks,
Sunday.
Keith.
All righty.
Thanks, Keith.
Okay, you're quite welcome.